Welcome to the Economics Weekly. And today I want to briefly talk about the other problems that the South African economy is facing. I don't like being a professor of doom, and most of the time I want to give a positive message, but there is a real concern about the competitiveness of the South African economy. At the moment, the news is focusing mainly on the oil price, the fuel price, the coming inflation shock, etc. But we've got much bigger problems, and it's become evident in the last many years of data from the manufacturing sector. So more recent data like purchasing managers indices, manufacturing output and sales have all shown that there's a contraction happening in the manufacturing sector. And manufacturing should typically be the base for growing the economy. It's supposed to be a ladder for productivity, moving from sort of low productivity activities into higher productivity activities. And the manufacturing sector used to be the channel for that. Now, we know that manufacturing has been contracting since the global financial crisis, and that we are more of a service economy today than ever before. But the importance of manufacturing is there. So why is it that the manufacturing sector is struggling? On the one side, there are the supply side problems that we already know about. It used to be the large-scale load shedding, as well as all the constraints in the logistics sector, problems with railways, problems at the ports, and that's added to the overhead costs of manufacturers. They had to find other ways and spend money in ways that wasn't investment into more productive capital. So those supply side constraints are there. They've been lifted to some extent, but many manufacturers still report local power supply problems, as well as some challenges in logistics, and that sort of continues. In addition, on the supply side is the human capital. The failures of our education system that we read about every year when the matric results come out have also encroached onto manufacturing and the people that you're able to hire to and that can do work that competes in the global economy. And with sort of weaker human capital going into the production process, that also means less competitiveness and less labor productivity growth. So added to that, there's been a lack of investment, specifically in the manufacturing sector. And this is a product of the lost decade following the global financial crisis and President Zuma's presidency in South Africa. A big part of this was due to policy uncertainty. And I like policy uncertainty and I have the little index. And those were the days when we started measuring it and it was high. So when there's uncertainty about the direction that policy is going to take, it creates an opportunity value in just waiting it out. And that's what many manufacturers did. They simply just waited with their investments and they haven't been sort of plowing money into new plant and new machinery and the capital that's supposed to drive productivity. Now, adding all these things together on the supply side, you can easily see why the South African manufacturing sector has become less competitive. The other issue is one of structural transformation. How it's supposed to work is that there should be a lot of small manufacturers, then some medium manufacturers, and a handful of big ones. And as firms learn by doing, they sort of move up through this structure, becoming big, etc. But in South Africa, we have a unique structure where we have a lot of small firms and then a few really big ones that dominate the industry. There's a missing middle. And that's one of the problems that we then see surfacing in competition policy, for example, that the markets are quite concentrated and the price leaders are very dominant in their markets. Now, again, that adds to less competitiveness. And unfortunately, recent industrial policy efforts have really compounded this with stuff like sectoral master plans, really benefiting the incumbents and protecting them from startup competition, but also from foreign competition. But only to an extent. And I think that's one of the things that no one's talking about yet, is that on top of all these problems, we are in the midst of what US economists call the second China shock. So when China entered the world economy, first in 1979, and then when it joined the WTO in 2000, it led to a wave of exports from China. And now we are facing another shock of cheap exports coming from China, and I think vehicles is probably the one place where we see it the most clearly. The Chinese vehicles, specifically the hybrids and electrics, etc., are just outcompeting all other firms and South African manufacturers as well. So you might say, well, there's a bit of unfair competition there, that we don't know how those industries are supported, and we are not on a level playing field. That might be true, but the case is that they are really productive, their products are good, and their products are affordable, and local consumers that are under pressure are simply choosing those products. So the end result of this shock is that globally there's an oversupply of almost everything that's either produced in China or India or in East Asia broadly. Recently, there was an application at ITAC where local tile manufacturers asked for protection from imports. But the problem is, globally, there's simply an oversupply of tiles, and there's a flood of tiles reaching markets everywhere and outcompeting the domestic manufacturer. So, supply side shocks and a second China shock is really putting a lot of pressure on our domestic manufacturing sector. Now, how to save it is a very difficult issue, and there's no simple answer to that. In the short run, you can try and protect industry from imports, and while you wait for the bigger reforms of electricity, of logistics, etc., to kick in and lower costs. But it's tricky. It doesn't always promote structural transformation. It doesn't always promote rivalry and competition between manufacturers. And that's what we would like to see, a much more vibrant and a much more productive manufacturing sector in South Africa. Or we need to change our minds and say, we are going to find a way to grow the economy through services. But that's a video for another time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment, and stay tuned to the Economics Weekly.